Hi everybody. Today we're taking a closer look at the best ways to play Russia in competitive games of Axis and Allies when facing an experienced opponent. I'll use the AAA software to demonstrate what I like to call Red Star Soviet Union strategy, and this is a shockingly effective way you can drag German players down into destruction, even if Russia cannot conquer. If you know how to trade space for time and then seize only the right opportunities to attack, you will no longer fear any veteran players of Germany ever again. And I'll try to demonstrate here with this playthrough how you may apply these same techniques on a physical game board in head-to-head matchups with your friends. This approach to strategy, of course, works the best and is the easiest to deploy on the bigger and more complicated setups and scenarios. It is the most difficult to play out on the 1941 board where there is a lot less game in general to work with. Nevertheless, in these videos that I make, I always have to say up front, my favorite strategies are not game hacks or exploits. They don't break the game with the amount of dice rolling here. Anything is possible. Horrid die results, consistent bad luck can ruin any plans. You just never know, and that's all part of the fun. So anyway, I'm going to play Russia here in an Axis and Allies Europe scenario. Highest difficulty setting, of course, and I'm only going to control Russia. And I'll let the AI control the US and UK and Germany. So the question is, will the Western allies hang me out to dry against the computer AI? We'll see. So the first thing you'll notice is that the computer version of ANA Europe is not faithful to Avalon Hill's 1999 tabletop version of the game. AAA doesn't have that set up. And I think we all know why. The consensus was at the time that the original game had problems. Remember the whole ridiculous German tank a-go-go strategy that actually worked? Anyway, I don't think that's the last word on classic ANA Europe. But here we have something more polished, bigger, and a lot more complicated. Sometime later, I'm going to come out with a classic ANA Europe mod video, so stay tuned for that. And I can't wait to do that, actually. But this version has a separate Italy, some politics, at least to start, neutral power dynamics, national objective, IPC bonuses, and those are the main differences. It's just bigger, more going on in Africa and the Middle East. And you can even see, well, later in the game, you could get infantry stacks as high as like 50. So there's just a lot more units in this game. So that's all cool. European setups are going to focus on the bloodiest land war in history on the Eastern Front. D-Day in the West is its own can of worms. It's present, yet of secondary importance in these games, I would argue. As a Russian player, you can't gamble on lengthy battles between Germany and France or delays with the subjugation of Poland. The minor European countries never really bogged Germany down in ANA either. So it's your duty as a Russian player to reform the starting Soviet position in 2 turns, and that's about all the breathing space you might expect to get before Barbarossa kicks off. In these games too, Russia is poorly equipped compared to Germany. They always make Russia weaker than it should be, but whatever. It's an understandable balancing factor so you can have a tense and an exciting outcome. 95% of the time, amphibious warfare will not be to the German player's liking, so the vast majority of great pieces will be pushed eastward, ever eastward across the boundless steppes of Russia. So you have to effect a planned evacuation of threatened armies in your western territories to save the greater whole in the long run. It's the only way. If you play ANA the way Stalin's generals arranged their armies in 1941, you'll lose against a good Axis player. Too much of the Red Army will be destroyed early on, and you will recreate the disasters of Minsk and Smolensk and be pushed back all the way to Moscow in no time and not have enough left to counterattack in a meaningful way when the time comes. So why give Hitler what he wants? In 1941, he was chasing the Red Army wherever he could effect large encirclements. He even vetoed his own generals to do it. Kiev, Stalingrad, just don't allow it. Retreat in a controlled, organized fashion in moves that are planned and careful, and you'll see continued Russian resistance even after what seem to be devastating losses. It's astonishing how resilient you can be in these games. I don't hold Stalingrad even to the last man. It's not worth it. Painful to lose, yes, but I'm not losing half my army to hold it, and I'm not losing any aircraft over it either. So you can see in this setup, the main territories, well, the most important ones for Russia are going to be the capital. And in this version, they also get 2 Siberian units every turn in the territory on the eastern border of the map. So those are important too. Those are the only 2 territories that would make sort of a final stand in. So you can see attack into eastern Poland here. All of these he's moving into eastern Poland with a lot of stuff. France obviously goes down in 1 turn. The politics are kind of not that big of a factor in this game. You can delay the German player can delay the war with Russia, I think, up to 4 turns. But you can see here the computer attacked basically immediately after it dealt with France. So it's being pretty aggressive. We see Baltic states I move out of. I don't defend with really anything except for 1 main. You want to have at least 1 infantry in every territory, regardless of how expendable it is. People will probably wonder, why would you do this? Well, the reason why you do that is to create traps for the German player. So if they can take the Baltic, you can see it can then be attacked from 2 sides, Novgorod and Belarus. So it's that's why you do that. You create situations where German players advance into territories where they can be ambushed by bigger forces. It's kind of confusing here too. I kind of wish they used, just Leningrad for that northern territory where the victory city is. And they also don't use Stalingrad. They use like the modern name in the south, Volgograd or whatever. But yeah, Volgograd. But Bessarabia, Ukraine, Western Ukraine, you back off and let the Germans sort of extend their supply lines. There's no new factory construction in these setups in the East, the Europe games that I'm aware of. Even 1999 didn't have new factory builds, so it becomes more difficult for the German player the farther they move east. You can see too, a super important point with Russia is you never ever, even if you have the attack bombers and the true fighters, obviously in the original game you just had the fighters, you just never risk them in attacks, ever. If you lose planes before battles in the Russian capital territory, or I guess the Far East one in this game where you get the 2 units every turn, the Siberians, then you know you're doing the strategy wrong. You just can't lose planes with Russia ever. You can use them in attacks as long as they're supporting tidal waves of infantry. So you'll just calculate how many potential hits the German player will get in the first round and make sure that can never reach your aircraft. Then it's okay to use them in attacks, but otherwise they're purely for defensive purposes. But when you attack small concentrations of German units, they're extremely effective to support infantry. Usually, you might have 1 turn with Russia to sneak in 1 plane build, and then exclusively you just want to build men until you can stabilize the front, and then once you're ready to counterattack and you're starting to push the Germans backwards, that's when you get the mechanized infantry, your artillery, tanks, stuff like that. But as you're falling back and baiting the Germans into these big destructive showdowns as far away from their supply centers as possible. It's just going to be all men, and I know it's kind of boring. It's very annoying. it's still it's still the best strategy. So here we see, um, well, Western Ukraine. They're using their ships in the Atlantic fairly aggressively, but you can see like it looks really scary. The German army's penetrating deep into Russia now in the center. Lots of equipment, but I still have Bryansk, Smolensk, still have that buffer before Russia proper. It's going to be 10 men every turn, kind of like ANA revised if you're playing Germany. With Russia, though, you can see, like, Ukraine, Bessarabia, the two territories to the north all have one infantry. Yeah, Belarus, Baltic states. You draw the Germans in. Once they occupy Belarus, they can be hit from several territories: Bryansk, Smolensk, in Leningrad, and even Archangel if I have units in there, which I might be able to counterattack from there. But those are prime counterattacking spots. And definitely not. You don't want to hold Bessarabia, Ukraine, Belarus, or Baltic states with a lot of stuff that can be ambushed by the Germans. Fall back. You can see me pulling back out of Bryansk. Even. That would be a horrible trap for the Germans to rush into the Bryansk salient there, because I'll be able to hit it from 3 sides. Minimum. So we'll see what the AI does. And you might think, well, what's to stop the German player from doing that once the Russian players go on the Russian player goes on the offensive? Well, nothing. The problem is for the Axis, though. At that point in the game, the Allies will be making more money, so it will mean a slow death. So you're really caught behind a rock and a hard place with the Germans here. Have to be aggressive, but they can't blunder full speed into envelopments. And you can see, it's just, you're actually restricted, I think, to 2 infantry in Stalingrad and Leningrad in this game. B. Really hoping the Western Allies make some progress, take some pressure off the Russian front. But that's always a bone of contention. I played a really memorable game of ANA Europe one time. Opposed, it's a 3-person game. I was Germany, and I had 2 friends. One was, obviously one was playing Russia, one was playing UK and US. And I was just horrible with Germany. Like, it was maybe within 2 turns, it was obvious that I wasn't going to win. But I just, dragged the game out. I was, basically an all-out defense strategy and counterattacking as best I could. And the 2 Allied players were seriously angry at each other. I remember the Russian guy, the guy who was playing Russia, was I think he almost threatened to beat up the guy playing Great Britain because he was taking too long establishing a second front with the Overlord operation. It was pretty funny. I was basically just trying to drag the game on so long that we would quit before it was over. But I think I remember the guy from Russia, playing Russia, finally occupied Berlin. But it was fun. It was a good game. But so you see the AI here. It looks like he's going to go after Leningrad or surround it. Yeah, only a token force is in Bryansk, so the computer is smart enough to know that anything large there would have been counterattacked. So he's going to make a play for Leningrad. Once again, though, Leningrad is, you hate to say it, but it's true. It's expendable. You cannot break the Red Army defending it or Stalingrad. You just can't. Like, I'm making a stand here with infantry, but you can see I'm going to move my planes out just in case if something goes wrong. I'm not going to risk my air force for anything other than Moscow. So 19 divisions and a tank is going to have to do. So he's got 16. Yeah, he'd be attacking. No, I don't think it'd be enough. That'd be a close battle if he used everything from the Baltic states. He could exhaust his entire Northern Army group. And I think the computer actually might do that here. I could counterattack into the Ukraine, though. Why not? Because you can do a quick mental calculation of what his next move would be. So a counter stroke in the south is something that is going to work in this situation. You just always have to be careful never to leave gaps. Always have at least one infantry in every territory. That's the rule of thumb that I like. Yeah, that situation in Leningrad is actually pretty critical. That's probably a coin flip right there if the computer launches that attack. But as the Axis player in that situation, I mean, if that were to go wrong, that is risky. That is a very risky proposition. So he might wait another turn to allow for those reinforcements in Poland to move up. So, yeah, the counterattack in Bryansk in the center, obviously that was going to work. Got Ukraine back. So the main threat is going to come. He's got like the Ukraine, a pocket almost cut off there in western Ukraine. But it'll be interesting to see what he does with all those units in Poland. I'm sure he'll move it into the Baltic states and we'll have like a massive showdown over Leningrad. Which is, if you think about it, it's acceptable for the Allies. I mean, that's not happening outside of Moscow. And every turn that goes by, Germany and Italy here are running out of time. So this is, it looks very dangerous and scary. But, so we have like a token effort to get back into Holland. Ooh. Great Britain taking Norway. Interesting. Italy's doing fairly well still. Polishing off Vichy France units. Yeah, they're still in it. Making a meaningful contribution. What's America doing? Just piddling around. Turn 4. Yeah, I think they may not even be able to get involved officially until about turn 4. So it just you just have to kind of hold on for dear life with the Russians. But yeah, you can see the main thrust of the German offensive is diverted north now. He's got a sizable group of units right in this western Ukraine, but yes, south, like Crimea and stuff like that, is totally secure. He'll have to make a decision soon in the north there. So Ukraine, this is a tough choice. I could either pull out, back off again, or do a pinprick sort of counterattack into Bessarabia and destroy the artillery he has there. But in this situation, actually, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's a tough call. I can't decide what I want to do here. Back off, I guess, is always, yeah. Discretion is the better part of valor. Most players won't do that. Like, the rookie players will not be able to make those tough decisions. And you'll be able to tell right away if you're playing a veteran player of Russia. If you see them do this, then you're like, oh no. See, what would you do with Bryansk? Most people would move everything forward, not one step back. Just like was supposed to be the solution, right? But it's not. It's not the way to play optimally. You can see I evacuated Belarus, Bryansk, and Ukraine. I basically conceded those territories to draw the German player in. And it's really hard to do. To sort of wrap your mind around how the board will look after the German player goes, and can it really be the winning strategy? But you have to do this. You'll see. It really stretches out and thins out the German positions, which allows for more meaningful, impactful counterattacks by the Russians. I'm fortunate in this game too that the British were so effective in retaking Scandinavia. They are not doing anything against the Western Wall, so I have to be grateful that at least the Germans don't have Norway. Here comes America. It's so achingly slow for them to get involved in this game. So yes, and now you see if the Germans will blunder into these traps. And it's close. It's close. Seriously, it is so close. If all of those units attack into Leningrad from Belarus, they may just be able to take Leningrad, but they will be so critically run down and weakened. Yeah, see, I can take Bryansk back. Always seal the line there. I have to make sure Tambov is occupied. The Germans reformed their Southern Army group a little bit. It's low on infantry. It's still not even a fraction of the threat the Army Group North is to Leningrad, Novgorod. British are coming in though now to help. I've got some British airplanes. So let's see, 20, it's going to be 28. It's close. It's so close. I mean, there's no margin there. There's no, like, it would be a coin flip. Almost for Germany to take that and have like a couple units left. So it wouldn't be worth it. It would be like a Pyrrhic victory. So who knows? I'm not sure what the AI is going to do if it just drives forward and deeper into Russia, attacking Smolensk, or maybe it actually might cut Leningrad off by attacking Archangel. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. But you can see you back off. You back off with those valuable units in territories that can't possibly face that huge concentration of German units. Come on. Bryansk. See, that would be a textbook Russian counterattack right there, where you use a lot of infantry supported by one aircraft. That's how you counterattack small groups of German units in Axis and Allies Europe prior to like the massive counterattacks you launch when you have basically no more room to retreat and you're on your own 1 yard line. And that could happen in this game. It looks like it, but we'll see what happens here. It's going to be very interesting to see what the Germans do from Belarus. Progress is slow on the Western Front. These are just sort of pinpricks. But there's no more German Navy. Italian Navy, yes. They're actually gobbling up large chunks of Africa and the Middle East, so that's alarming. I don't see any reversal of fortune anytime soon. Ethiopia's gone. Yeah, this reminds me of the World at War by Xenogames, where America gets so distracted with its IPCs trying to turn neutrals in order to build up its economy. It can just squander so much time and money. It just makes the Russian player want to pull their hair out. It's so frustrating. But in this setup, the Germans aren't really in a position to declare war on true neutrals. They've got their hands full. As ridiculous as it seems, like the only power that can do that is the USA. And so the German War Machine keeps plowing east, right up to the gates of Moscow. These are Russia's darkest hours for sure. We can still build 8 men. We have so Germany. So if you look, Germany has pressed right up against their objectives, but they're not quite strong enough to take the big territories that matter. And they've broken up. Oh, they cut off Leningrad. But the Leningrad pocket is strong. It's way stronger than the forces that are surrounding it. So this is truly an ugly looking situation. But wow, 6 US bombers flew in. That's weird. You usually see, well, I don't know. That's a thing that these games, like the ANA Europe games, I think struggle to simulate. And that is the US using Great Britain as a springboard to launching Overlord. Like in these games, they tend to, land in Africa and come up through the Middle East. You don't often see necessarily just tons of or everything American landing in Great Britain and then just crossing the channel. So this is going to be a huge counterattack, but it's worth it. This is worth it. Because whatever is left won't be strong enough to attack my capital. Especially if the first round of combat goes well. And the site of the battle is right next to my supply centers. Whereas the Germans, that's not very good. Oh, well, that's Rostov, actually. Bryansk is the one that matters the most. The German units have to travel so much farther to get to the front. So this is precisely why you choose these big battle grounds close next door to your supply centers. It's literally 1, 2, 3, almost quadruple the distance for German units to fight in Bryansk. One, two, 4. 4, that's not good. 4 to 10. Can I do that again or do I have to call it off? Yeah. Retreat. That's bad. That was bad. But if I had clicked remain, and I was tempted to, that would have been game over. You have to know when to fold your cards. I'm actually glad that happened because I got an opportunity to demonstrate backing off. That was a dangerous gamble that I took. But you see now, are they strong enough to attack Russia? Let's see, 12, 18, 19, 20. I have 20 men. Two, they attack it 2, I defend it 2. That's a coin flip at best for them. They might hope to take Russia with 1 or 2 units if they're lucky, but I have 1, 2. I would have enough units still alive left to counterattack. I have a tank in Archangel, presumably. And maybe, maybe the American bombers would do some damage. I don't know what they're going to do with those bombers. But yeah, that was a mistake. But I at least limited the fallout there of that ill-advised counter. That was too early. So the German player is going to have to make a decision though soon about Leningrad, because the British are able to move a lot of units up there now that there's no German Baltic fleet. And these pinpricks in Denmark and Holland, fortunately, are enough. Well, the Germans are, you can see they are moving a lot of equipment and men west. This is just so frustrating to watch, though, the Americans liquidating South America. Yeah, see, they don't, America doesn't use Great Britain as the launching off point. It's like Gibraltar in this game. Which is, I mean, that's silly. It had to, all the preparations had to be done in Great Britain. There's no way you could organize D-Day out of a shrinky-dink place like Gibraltar. Rostov. It's gonna lose some mechanized infantry there. That was bad. I got bad results there. Holy crap! And I lost Stalingrad. Wow, this is looking grim. But I'm still in it. Things can look grim as long as you have tons of military units, right? I have lost a scary amount of territory, but the Red Army still has teeth. It's not like my military has been destroyed. Like, if rookie players were at this point, like, on the map strategically, they would have half the units that you would see, right? They would, because it takes experience to learn how to conserve the Red Army and to make those strategic withdrawals and take the pain of giving up ground. And it is painful and scary. But like if you look just on the screen there, that's 30, 37, 40 infantry still. Yes, I'm pushed all the way back to Moscow, but Red Army can still fight. It's not out of it, amazingly. We'll be able to take Stalingrad back for one turn. That at least slows down the Germans in the south. It doesn't really look like the war is going to be decided in the south anyways. That's why I'm not like a lot of other players that will, just break their army over Stalingrad for, prestige and other unimportant temptations and reasons. I mean, it's nothing compared to Moscow. I shouldn't say it's nothing. It does have production capacity in it. In real life, it had a lot of morale attached to it, but you can see the British, Portugal. You really want to annoy the Russian player, do this as the Allies waste so much precious time. It's like the British units are moving in slow motion through Scandinavia. Italy has the entire Middle East now. If America doesn't launch an attack with all those units based out of Gibraltar against Italy, I'm just going to punch the screen, honestly. Strategic bombing of Germany, at least something. What? They went... That was a botched attack. That was like an American DF. Instead, they're attacking Spain? Interesting. Well, at least the Germans will have to match that build-up. What do they have there? Doesn't look like it's enough. So the Germans are going to have to build out of France. That's one way to do it. That's one way to put water in Germany's basement. And it should take some steam out of the German army on the Eastern Front as well. So, yeah, you can see a big movement from Germany west. Now, moving west. Finally, because I'm at my lowest economic point here, 19 IPCs. 21 German divisions in France. Not sure where they'll meet the Americans, I guess. Somewhere, the German center is garrisoned by Italian troops now. So I should be able to push back the German center. I have a German bomber overhead. HE-111. Yeah, that's a shame. That's the South is not good. But all the punishing blows Russia's taking, you can see I still have the ability to counterpunch. Although it's getting critical. Like I need more intervention, direct intervention from the Western Allies, because it takes a multinational effort to bring down the Axis. Russia cannot do it by itself. That's for sure. And I got to be careful not to lose Novosibirsk, because then I would lose my Siberian reinforcements, and that can't like that. I mean, I have to prevent that at all costs. Those are the two territories I'm willing to break the Red Army over, but not Stalingrad or Leningrad, unfortunately. Thank goodness for the British landing in the north there. Bryansk. The Bryansk battle there, that's the type of counterattack you do with Russia against thinly defended German lines. It's not, you don't use tanks, you use men and aircraft. And you always have enough men to make sure the defenders cannot get hits on the aircraft. You do sacrifice your bonus with attack bombers, but the priority is to keep the aircraft. You cannot lose those planes. The Americans, I want to see the Americans in Normandy in southern France next turn. Or this turn. Stalin demands a second front. It's the British, okay? Oh, they're getting a lot of equipment there. So now I'm at the point. You're at the point now with Russia that I could think about another large-scale counterattack, which would break out of Leningrad, because I have the support of the British behind the Russians. So even if I take really big losses, as long as I wear down the Germans enough, it should be acceptable for the British to help me out. Although I'm not controlling the British, I have to believe that the AI would recognize that I'm sort of opening the door for them to. Okay, so we have a large-scale strategic bombing offensive against the Germans. That helps. The Americans didn't really land a lot in Normandy. A lot of stuff's coming, though. They've taken over all of South America, so they can't waste any more time screwing around down there. 15 divisions in Spain. Yeah, this is the turning point of the game for sure. If I was Germany, I would go all out here. And they did not do that. Took Bryansk, cut off Leningrad again by taking Archangel. And it looks like they're going to take back southern France. They should get weaker though, because they didn't get back all their stuff. Normandy. America can build out of Normandy now. So this is where I'm thinking about making a giant counterattack in. Yeah, I think because they only have 5 infantry there. There's a lot of exposed, expensive equipment caught in the Belarus bulge. Even if I lose all my infantry, I should be able to eat into that expensive equipment stationed in Belarus. I got to think about this. I should attack it, because that would relieve pressure on Leningrad once and for all. And there is enough British units in Karelia, hopefully, to bail me out. These are the moments where you can see the prime opportunities to counterattack. These are the opportunities that manifest when you adopt the Red Star strategy of strategic withdrawals at the start of the game, saving your army for precisely these situations. If it's not this turn, it will have to be probably the next turn that I switch to the offensive. My first attempt into Bryansk was a failure, but I didn't compound it by pressing the attack. I didn't reinforce defeat that way. You just take it on the chin and just live to fight another day. But I'm seriously considering Belarus as an option. 25 men looking for ones. It's going to have to be next turn. We'll see what the map looks like after this. Destroyed a German armored division in Bryansk. Exposed one of my own, though, unfortunately. Kick the Italians out of Tambov. Got back Archangel. Not quite. Just cleared it out. Now, do I put my planes into Leningrad? I think I have to. I think Leningrad is too strong for the Germans to take now. And that means that I'm on the counteroffensive next turn. I have to. That's when you know it's time. I'm down to 14 IPCs. That's the low point. A new low. So even though Russia is dying, like the number suggests that it's a dying power, you can still see how potent it is with its intact army. But the numbers don't lie. It's getting weaker and weaker and weaker economically, but I can still counterattack. And it's like I said, it's at the point where I'm going to have to make a decision here. I'm going to have to, if I truly am getting poor, I have to affect like some sort of massive reversal here. Otherwise, I will go down in flames. And I'm going to lose a lot of expensive equipment here in Bryansk to the Italians. Although it's costly for them too. Wow. Wow, that was a big battle. At least I hurt them badly. They took Bryansk at a huge price. But let's see. The Germans are spending a lot of money propping Western Europe. 28 divisions now in France. America's 18. They are getting strategically bombed by the Americans now regularly every turn. Southern France is contested every turn now, which is some progress. We have more units. Ooh, they have almost 30 units on the west wall, the Germans alone. But 24, what are the Germans going to do here? They're going to carve into southern Russia more. Yeah, that was an all-out offensive by the Germans. Oh my gosh, Russia's almost surrounded now. Now I have to counterattack. Yeah, I'm new low now, 15. You have to counterattack. Now there's no more room to retreat. There's no more giving ground. It's time to attack, and I'm going to destroy the German Army Group North here. This is where you go all out. This is when you throw caution to the wind and strike back with everything. There's no more ground to give. So, but like I said, I'm going to set this up in such a way that I don't lose aircraft. So you have to. That's the important thing in all of this. And with the amount of infantry I have, I still have options, even though the country is collapsing economically. Do I do Baltic states? Belarus, Smolensk, Bryansk, Tambov, Samara, Novosibirsk. The only question now is if it's like a broad offensive across the board, or if it's concentrated into one main area. If I attack Samara, I can cut the Germans off in Novosibirsk. I need Novosibirsk back to get the Siberians reinforcements every turn, so that's a priority. But I have to think about what I'm doing here. I don't want to lose tanks. I don't want to expose tanks, and I certainly don't want to expose my aircraft. So, yeah, Baltic states will be smashed. And if you notice, I mean, I have a large buffer of British units behind me, so I can I can spend that all here. The British have a lot of units, so at this point, the Red Army is expendable attacking the Baltic states. And we're going to do Smolensk because there's an armored division that I can destroy. And you notice the Germans are getting low on armor on the Eastern Front too. They only have 5 divisions left. I know I only have 1, but British have 3. 2 more coming. Good, that was a good attack. This is the big one though, Baltic. Six casualties. 5. Took a lot there. Come on. 3. I have to back off. No. 5. Yeah, they could kill my planes. That's what but you back off. You got to back off there. So that was the second time I had to cancel a large-scale counterattack, but I escaped with my aircraft. And now the Germans are so badly weakened. They're going to be falling back from now on, I think. Even though I didn't gain territory with that counterattack, I did so much damage to the Wehrmacht that they won't be able to hold the British. Yeah, the British just ran them over, steamrolled them. And that marks the turning point in the entire war. Because now you can see that the Eastern Front is collapsing now. The German army is destroyed on the Eastern Front. So it's basically just a matter of time now. Even the Italians are propping up the Germans in the West. It's kind of like what happened after Stalingrad, where the Germans had like whole sectors of their line held by minor allies. Oh, the Americans, they're so frustrating to watch. But they're finally sweeping the Italians out of northern Africa. Look at all the stuff in France. What is that? That's got to be close to 70 units. Yeah. Oh, they're moving it to Germany. Or trying to move it west. What was it? I made 10? Holy crap. That was so, like that. The counterattack was just in the nick of time because my economy is almost, I can only make 3 men now. But luckily the British saved me. However, I mean, I still am able to make these meaningful counterattacks. I'm not 100% dependent on the Western Allies to push forward here. But their, I mean, contribution was certainly decisive there to turn the tide. But I got to. Oh, sorry. I had one more round there before I had to retreat. So now we're gonna push to take back Stalingrad. It's got a lot of units in. It's gonna take a while. But you can see there's really nothing to slow the British down. They're gonna be in Poland. You can really see the Axis start to evaporate here. Oh, wow. The British have a lot of units right beside Germany, so presumably the Germans will have to dismantle some of their defenses in France to face the growing threat in the east from the British. Not even the Russians yet. Italians are so pesky. And you can thank the Americans for that, because they're just, I mean, come on. I would think a human player would just attack into the Italian peninsula instead of, I mean, that's what I would do. There's only 10, 11 units in southern Italy. You can't knock these guys out of the war. And don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for all the activity in France, but at some point, I'd like to see the Americans sail that Atlantic fleet right into the Mediterranean and really inflict some damage. Look at that. Wow. There's both powers have about 40 infantry facing off in France now. The axis of the war in Europe has actually shifted to the west, unfortunately, because the Russians are so... Oh, I wish you guys could see this. It's a biplane. That's cool. World War One. Yeah, it's. I'm surprised that Axis have like 3 air groups in Stalingrad combined. Not willing to let that part of the Russian Empire go. Wow, the Allies are carving Eastern Europe though. The Germans are going to have to be careful here. It's unfortunate though that the Italians are so strong in southern Russia. That really prevents me from rolling up into Germany. But whatever. I have to cancel that one. Oh no, I got it. I don't think, like, see all that stuff from Ukraine east. I don't think Italy's going to withdraw that stuff. I think they're just going to stand and die in Russia. They're going to be trapped there. It's going to be a huge pocket of Axis units trapped in Russia soon. The poor Dutch. The Hollands traded hands like 10 times in this game. All of Africa's almost liberated. Yeah, just like I thought. Yeah, there's a ton of Italians now cut off in Russia. Let's see, 9, 10, 11 divisions, 4 artillery, 5 artillery, 2 air groups, all cut off into Russia, and they're still attacking. Southern France is going to be, destroyed. Yeah. You could see that coming. Although this time I don't think the Axis will be able to take it back. Even Western Germany is being attacked now. "28 German divisions are cut off in France." Ooh, that's going to be an interesting situation. Because the Americans in southern France can bypass that pocket and drive into northern Italy. I'm not sure what the Americans are going to do, but it'll be interesting to see how the Allies carve up Germany here. This is always fun. 29, yeah, they're still pretty powerful in France. But you can see now Russia's economy is actually starting to recover, so we now know that we're going to win the war. It's just a matter of time. Because Germany, Germany can't do anything. Push the Eastern Front. It's just the story in the East now is all those trapped Italian divisions, and well, 3 German artillery, and like it's got 2 planes that can probably evacuate. But just as I thought, the Italians would be trapped there. I mean, that pocket's going to be slowly compressed. And it'll probably be compressed into Volgograd. Retreat to the Urals. Yeah. That's a stubborn redoubt there. That holdout in southern Russia is just so pesky. Russia's so exhausted. It's gonna take a while to reduce that pocket of resistance. I can't believe it will be the Russians to sack Berlin. In this version of history, I don't see it. However, like Moscow never fell, and it looked dangerous for the Russians, but that strategy of strategic withdrawal, it worked. The Russians were able to stick around, weather the storm. So now, oh wow. Germany is literally sliced into 3 pieces here. There's a huge pocket of Italians trapped in Russia. There's a huge pocket of Germans trapped in France. I'm not sure what the Americans do. They could, like I said, I would drive into northern Italy as opposed to attacking Normandy. I would try to take, northern Italy. Yeah, that's the most destructive thing they can do. Because that's production for Italy. And they took it too. And now the Italians are fighting for their lives. So the Russian pocket, I think, is on its own. Anything like all the units they have left in Eastern Europe will have to head west, I think. They're going to abandon their buddies in Russia. Although Germany looks like it's going to bail out the Italians here for this turn. But if you notice now that France will fall. Bailing out the Italians cost the Germans France just to keep their minor ally in the fight. They had to give up a really valuable strategic position in Western Europe to do so. Wow, the Italian pocket melted so fast. In Russia, that's going to be closed off. Finally. And Russia can start thinking about building mechanized infantry and tanks now. As the Axis are no longer a threat on the Eastern Front at all. So that emergency has been averted, and you can now compete for the prize of Berlin. And that's always fun as the Russian player, to scoop it from the allies, the Western allies. Although the Western allies are so much stronger than me right now. I'll do my best to see if I can get to Germany first, but it doesn't look like it. The British are going to be in Poland with a ton of units if they want. They're going to mop up other territories in Eastern Europe. Huh. That move by building right out of Norway and making that loop around into Leningrad is really effective for the British. Really helpful. I'm surprised that the AI helped me. By the way, I played this very game head to head at least twice, hot seat, with a buddy, a guy much younger than me that I actually taught Axis and Allies to. Like, I introduced him to ANA. And I remember this was a long time ago. It was so long ago, I don't remember which side I played, but we played 2 complete games back to back. And whatever side I was, I got my butt kicked by a rookie, and then I demanded a rematch, and he beat me again. But I guess I was Germany. I guess I can't remember. It was fun. I remember I was mad at myself for that. But I had fun. Head to head hot seat. ANA is my favorite way to play. So France, actually, you're going to see blue units now back in the game. France is liberated. That would be funny if they were able to be the ones to take Germany. That's what this, if you play the Allies in Russia correctly, that's what ANA Europe sort of devolves into, just a race to see who actually grabs Berlin. And it can be actually pretty fun. Like I said, the one game I played years ago with 2 guys, I was Germany, and I just kept holding on and holding on. They got so mad at each other. And I think, it was the Russian guy finally took Berlin after he threatened to beat up the guy playing Great Britain. So that's going to be it for the pocket in the Caucasus, the Axis pocket in the last pocket in the east will be eradicated, and I'll just advance on a broad offensive, hopefully in time to scoop the prize of Berlin from my Western allies. But I mean, I'm just now buying the armor and mechanized infantry. See if I can do it. If I can pull this off, that would be so funny. I don't think so, though. That's too much to ask. There we go. All the Axis units are eliminated from the Eastern Front, so now it's just full speed ahead for the Russians. Although I think I'm not sure who will get to Berlin first, the British or the Americans. Stay tuned. I don't think the game's going to last that much longer. A few more rounds, maybe. Let's see. British just blow through eastern Poland. They don't have a lot of units, though. Let's see. Could be France, too. Don't forget France. Germany has a lot more units in Western Germany than Germany proper, but I suspect that's going to change. Come on, America. You can get into Yugoslavia, southern Germany. Wow, there's so many Allied units in Europe now. It's hard to keep track of what's actually going on. That's why this map would never be a tabletopper. Like, you can just look at how many units there are. I shouldn't say never, because you could use like 10 chips, like different colored chips. So I mean, you could do it like teners and fives and stuff like that. Buckets of dice. Yeah, Russia's just so far away from the action now. Doesn't seem likely that I'll be able to take part in the final partition of Germany. I mean, even though this is a foregone conclusion, I'm still interested to see how the final battles play out. Sort of a morbid curiosity here. So I think America is going to finish off Italy, southern Italy. That's what I would do. Just remove them from the game for all intents and purposes. Southern Italy, greater southern Germany. The Germans did counterattack back into France, but I mean, that was just a delaying action. Look at that, Russia's economy is back to 28. It was down to 9 or something like that. Oh, yeah, there's not much left of the Axis. This is going to be Italy's last turn for buying units. Lasted 17 turns. I just can't imagine America not polishing them off. It's still, I mean, it's going to be a big, big, big battle in southern Italy, but America still has the horsepower, I think, to do it. Yep. Wow. Oh, they didn't do it. Oh well. Not that turn. It was just. At least Italy lost way more than they can produce. So next turn will be the end. They bought themselves one extra turn there with that victory. It looks like. Western Germany is going to fall here. And France. Those territories will no longer be options for Germany. I like how there's 2 German air groups stuck in Persia with an Italian motorized division. I mean, why not? It's worth 2 IPCs, I guess. But I mean, it's hopelessly cut off. I can't believe Italy made it to Western India in this game. It still wasn't enough. Come on, Russia! I can have tanks. 3 armored divisions in Poland. And 4 mechanized infantry. But I don't want to lose all of them, so just have a presence there. So, march east. So yeah, well, at least you see the Red Army in Poland. $32 is Russia's economy now. So Great Britain is gonna. Ooh, they're gonna take Western Europe. It's another air raid? Huh. I don't see it this time. Oh, America, finish off the Italians, please. Oh, barely. Yes, finally. Italy can no longer build. They are out of the war. Mussolini and his mistress are dead. So, no more bailing him out. Germany's down to its last territory. So, place your bets on who will take Germany. If it's Russia, it'd be lucky. The odds are America, maybe? But they're 2 turns away. Let's see. They can certainly stop Germany's production with strategic bombing. So they shouldn't be getting any stronger, regardless of having 14 economy. Let's destroy Persia. That's not a great attack, though, from an odds perspective. Move more into Poland. Move everything east. All the tanks. Well, they can be 2 away from taking from Germany. The Russians are coming. Western allies got to be careful here. Those 2 planes survive, fortunately. Persia. If I were them, I wouldn't fly back to Europe either. Well, they can't. I don't think they could. They make it. I guess they could. That'd be interesting. They'd have to stop in Cyprus, maybe? Come on, Great Britain is attacking Saudi Arabia, of all places, for that money, extra money. Wow, they didn't do anything else. I was just greedy. So America has 24 infantry in Holland, Belgium, so that's going to wind up in Western Germany. And I don't think the Germans take it back. I think they're down to they truly are going to be down to Germany, and it's going to be a final battle. I don't think they have any sort of ability to counterpunch after this turn. Because America just wrecked them in Western. That's more than the Germans can rebuild in one turn anyway, what they just lost there. So let's see, they're down to, what was that, 17 divisions in Germany. Wow, America has 51 infantry in Western Germany. 51. This has to be, there's no way they're going to, oh, but they have, wow, the Germans have 26 artillery. Still, that's not enough. I don't think. 51 men. You could roll, well, let's see, divided by 6. You might get, you'd be lucky to get 10 hits. But the Americans are bringing in 14 artillery with it. They can bring in 3 bombers. Russia is like pretty, well, small compared to the Americans, but I've got a sizable force in Poland. So if America doesn't do it, then I can sneak in and take it. But if I was America with that kind of size army in Western Germany, I would just go for it. Well, 50, 21. Yeah, I would do it. I would do it. How many bombers can they bring in? 1, 2, 3, 4. Because there's one in Italy, I saw. 4 bombers. Certainly a lucky first round of combat. You would need a lucky. It's 1 or 2 turns left, though, for Germany. And it'd be interesting to see if they bother just even trying to counterattack anywhere. I don't think they will. I don't think they have the option because, yeah, the British are just going to roll right up. Italy's nothing. They have nothing. Do Americans attack this turn? They have their economy's 103. No, they're going for it. So it's going to be America. This will be an interesting battle. Whoa! 20. Oh, yeah, it wasn't even close, man. So there you have it. Axis and Allies Europe. Winning strategy to adopt with the Russians. And it's hard and frustrating at first, but give it a try the next time you play head-to-head with your friends on a physical game board. Red Star Soviet Union strategy. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more content coming soon.